and safety as well as the shelf life of the food. Nanoparticles materials like titanium dioxide is used as a food additive to enhance the color and the appearance of food products, and nanomaterials in food packaging for the shelf life, so that it prevents the growth of bacteria and other microorganisms. Nanosensors are used to detect the foodborne pathogens. There are, at the same time, when this much of improvements and utility is there, there are challenges and risk involved with respect to using these nanoparticles. They can accumulate in the soil, water, and crops, leading to environmental contamination. This is one of the concerns what is today world across talks about. So more and more research is needed to study the toxicity and other adverse effects which can go into the bloodstream if we are using it. Secondly, the challenge is on the cost part, and there are lot many regulatory frameworks has to be defined. So this is a new area of research and advanced usage of nanomaterials for agriculture and food. The keeping the pros and cons, I think today our professor will be covering is going to give us a vast input on this nanomaterials for agriculture and food. I welcome everybody for this lecture series. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your inaugural address. Now I invite Diriba, President of Gambela University, to speak.
Hello, good afternoon all. Dr. Tesi, Vice Chancellor of NICE University, academic staff members of NICE University, Dr. Lalu, Director for International Affairs, and also academic staff members of Gambela University, and those of you who joined this international lecture series online from different universities in Ethiopia. So I would like to welcome you all, and then I would like to take this opportunity and appreciate Dr. Tesi and your team for arranging this international lecture series. So thank you so much. A few months ago, we signed MOU with NICE University, and then we are applying university, and then we are changing our MOU into actions. Gambela University is one of the public universities in Ethiopia. As you all know, Ethiopia is a population of 120 million, and then we are trying our best to provide qualified graduates. Since we are a comprehensive university, we want to work with renowned universities like NICE, higher education. And then today, our academic staff members are attending this international lecture series. And then I think we are translating our MOU into actions. And then on behalf of Gambela University and myself, I'm very happy to attend and then to be part of this lecture series. And also I'd like to appreciate Dr. Rimal, who is going to present on nanomaterial for agriculture and food. I think this is agriculture is the future of this global world. And then it's only if agriculture is supported with technology that we can feed the whole world. So I wish you all the best. And then I would like to invite Dr. Tesi to visit Gambela University in Ethiopia sometime in the future. So thank you so much, Dr. Lalu and Dr. Tesi, for arranging this incredible international lecture series. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Diriba, for your presentation. Without much ado, I like to invite our speaker, Rimal Isaac, Dr. Rimal Isaac, to present the topic.
Respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Tessie Thomas of Noorul Center for Higher Education, Dr. Diriba of President Gambella University, and the conveners of this program, Dr. Lalu Gladson Robin, who is the Director International Affairs of Noorul Center for Higher Education, and Dr. Edwin Rajasas, who is the Head Department of Automobile Engineering, along with the coordinators, Dr. Darwins and of Noorul Islam Center for Higher Education, and Mr. Jagan Raj of Gambella University. So I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude for providing me with the chance to deliver a lecture on nanomaterials for agriculture and food. So I hope this lecture series will be a great beneficial for the students and faculty members of Noorul Islam Center for Higher Education, as well as the faculty and student members of the Gambella University, Ethiopia. So in order to begin with the program, I'll provide you with an overview of what are the nanomaterials which are used in agriculture and food sectors. Then we will also see some specific examples of how nanotechnology can revolutionize these industries. So throughout the program, if any questions are there, or if you want to share any insights, you can break the presentation in between and you can ask your questions and you can share your insights. So I will share my presentation now. So Dr. Lalu, can you give me the host status so that I'll be able to share my screen? Dr. Lalu?
Yes, sir.
Can you give me the host status so that I will be able to share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
We can take the just I'll bring it. I'll bring it. I'll bring it.
Sir, now you can share.
So actually, I think I am logged in 2 accounts. Okay. Oh, no, I see that. So I hope my presentation is visible now. Can someone confirm it?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So
Visible now,
yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So if I am too fast or something, if I want to slow somewhere, you can break me and you can give me a hint to slow down. So I'll be beginning with the presentation. So these are the contents what we will be seeing today. So we'll be seeing about nanomaterials. Then we'll be seeing about how nanomaterials are used in food. Then we'll be seeing about the application in agriculture. Also, we'll see a little about how these nanomaterials can be synthesized using biogenic or green routes. So to begin with, we need to know what is a nanomaterial. So this is a scale chart. So you can see the scale chart here. So in the scale chart, if you see the sand, the fine sand, what we can see in the seashore, which has a size of 1 millimeters. So when we look into our red blood cells, it has a size of 10 micrometer. And when you come down the line, if you see the size of a human hair, that is about 150 micrometers. So we will be looking into this space, which is shown in red. So this space, if you see, it is a size between 1 nanometer to 100 nanometers. So this is the size of the particles what we are interested in. So here you can see The nanomaterials are having the size between 1 to 100 nanometers. So any material we can convert it into nanomaterials. So any bulk material, let it be gold or silver or copper or zinc oxide or silver oxide, or it may be any material we can convert to nanomaterial. So why we are speaking about this nanomaterials means, when we reduce the size of these nanomaterials, their properties changes. Or even though the bulk material and the nanomaterial have the same chemical composition and the same structure, but there is a change in the properties of these materials. So what properties will get changed means, so we will see here. So first thing is, when we reduce the size of the materials, the surface of the material, more surfaces gets exposed to exterior. Okay, we have a bulk material. So, and if the material is still broken down into smaller shapes, what happens? More surfaces it's exposed. So the surface area of the material gets increased. So this property is very much used in case of catalysis. So you can see this figure. So the base material, which is a catalyst, and the reactants come and sit above this catalyst to form into a products. When the surface of the catalyst is high, more reactants can sit above this catalyst so that more products can be formed. So that's how one such property of the nanomaterial is an increase in the surface area. So next, when we see, when we can classify these nanomaterials. So when we have a bulk materials, that can have a shape, but when we speak about this nanomaterials, we tell them as 0-dimensional, 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, and 3-dimensional materials. So why it's a 0-dimensional material? So usually we used to see 1-dimension or 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, but when we speak into this nanomaterials, we have a 0-dimension also. 0-dimension means these materials have only few atoms. You can see this figure. These materials have only few atoms, and these atoms are very much confined to a particular space. So as they are confined to a particular space, these materials are not allowed to move forward. So these materials have special properties. What kind of properties means, when these 0-dimensional materials are irradiated with light, you can see the bottom figure. So when they are irradiated with light, so what happens is they will emit different colored lights. So here what happens is, when blue light is incident on this 0-dimensional material, which is known as the quantum dots, if it is a 2 nanometer size particles, it will emit green color. So if it is a 6 nanometers particle, it will emit a red color. So the properties of this materials changes with size also. So next comes this 1-dimensional material. So these are nanotubes like the carbon nanotubes or fibers and rods. These comes under this 1-dimensional classifications. Then we have this 2-dimensional. 2-dimensional, we have these films or coatings. The best example what I can tell is an graphene sheets, graphite. So graphite is made up of many layers. Okay, it is stacked into many layers, and one layer, if you remove from the graphite sheet, means we will get a thin paper-like structure like this. So this is a 2-dimensional material. Then we have 3-dimensional material. So these are some of the shapes in which nanomaterials can be formed. Like it can be a triangle, it can be a rod, it can be a prism. So any shapes you can make these nanomaterials. Apart from this classification, based on the size and shape, the nanomaterials can also be classified based on their composition. Like we can have this organic, inorganic, and biological nanoparticles. So inorganic means we have this metals, metal oxides, and carbon-based nanomaterials. Organic means we have this liposomes, micelles, dendrimers, or ferritin. So this is how the nanomaterials are classified. So next, when we look, I told, when we prepare these nanomaterials, the properties heavily changes. So what are the properties changes means, even the color changes, the conductivity changes, melting point changes, reactivity. So all the properties of the material changes. So when you look into this graph, so there is a chart is shown. This is the chart of the melting point of gold. So when the gold is having a size of 10 nanometers, it is having a melting point around 950 degrees Celsius. But when the size is again reduced to 2 nanometers, the melting point of the gold changes to 500 degrees Celsius. So that's how what happens is when any material is converted to a nanomaterial, the entire property of the material changes, right? From its physical property, chemical property, mechanical property, all the properties of this materials changes drastically. So here also you can see, so this is the, all these materials are silver nanoparticles, but they have different colors. Why different colors means the color difference is based on the shape of the particles. So if it is spherical, it is yellow in color. If it is red, it is a dark green in color. So all the properties of this nanomaterial is highly depends on its size and shape. So next, when we look, this is one of the work we have done in our lab. So here you can see bulk gold is there. Okay. So this image is taken from the internet. So when this bulk gold is converted to an nano solution or nano material, what happens is the color changes into red in color. So we have the bulk gold yellow in color, which changes to red in color. So when we observe it under the transmission electron microscope, we can have this kind of shapes it has been formed. So this shape is around some 15 to 20 nanometers in size. So our theme for today is we will be seeing about the application of nanomaterials in food and agriculture. So far what we have seen is the what is a nanomaterial, its classifications, why we are running behind this nanomaterials, because of its enhanced properties when the size is getting reduced. So now we will see how this nanomaterials can play a vital role in the food industry. So this is a website which is known as this Stat Nano. So what you can get from this website is like, so it is a database of nanomaterial products which is present around the globe. So in this database, we can see it has a classification under food as well as agriculture. So if you look into the food space, what happens is there are around 434 products which is made entirely of nano, or in one of the other way, nano is present in one of the products. So this is a global database, not a regional database. So anyone can go to this website and you can check this. So if you click on this 434, what it will show is, it will show that entire products, what is present. So everything you can see here. In the same way, when you look into the agriculture, so what happens is like, there are around 260 products are there. So in this 260 products, subclasses are there that we will see. So here if you see, when you look into the food space, so it is classified into food sensors, meal, packaging, sports nutrition, and supplements. So if you look into the use of nanotechnology in food industry, it is mainly classified into nanostructured materials, which is used in the food as food ingredients, or nanomaterials which is used as sensing purpose. So here also it is again classified, like you can see, it is used in the food processing as well as it is used in food packaging. So there are two cases in which nanomaterials are used in the food industry. One is like, you can improve the shelf life of the food. That is, if you take some apple or orange, what happens is, if you keep this apple outside for 2 or 3 days, what happens is it is loses moisture content and it will shrink in size, and again it will get degraded. So what you can do is, you can design a packaging which uses these nanomaterials so that the food stays fresh for very long time. So that is where this food packaging comes. Food processing means you add this nanomaterials either to improve the nutrition value of the food, or to improve the shelf life of the food. So these two ways you can use this nanotechnology in food industries. The first and the important thing what we see in this nanomaterial for food is, where we use this flavor control. So flavor means smell or taste. So what happens is when we keep a fruit or any food outside for very long duration, what happens when time goes on, bacteria or some other microorganisms start to grow on this food. And what happens is gradually the flavor or the taste of this food get degrades. So in order to prevent that, what we can use is we can use this nanomaterials to prevent the leakage of the flavor present in the food. So we all know, what we know is like, if you are buying commercial apples, so what happens is around this apple we can see a wax coating. So what type of wax they use normally is they use bee wax or they use petroleum based waxes. So when they use bee wax, what's the problem is like bee wax is costly. The price is very high, but it is not that much harmful to humans. But in order to keep the price of the product very low, what they do is they go for petroleum based waxes. So this is not that much friendly to the human. So what we can do is we can think of some alternative which is cheaper than the bee wax, and it is much healthier even if we accidentally consume it. So the primary reason why they are using this wax is mainly to prevent the water loss from the fruit. So here there are two researchers. The bottom the reference is given. So what they did is they took this sandan gum. So what is the sandan gum is? Sandan gum is a product which is made by a bacteria known as the Xanthomonas camberstris. So what happens is when we grow this bacteria in a glucose syrup which is made from this corn, soya, dairy or wheat, it secretes a gel-like substance. Okay, so this substance along with alco-tocopherol, okay, which is a type of vitamin E, when these two are mixed and if a coating is given above this apple, the shelf life as well as the freshness, that is the water loss from this apple gets reduced. So next, some other scientists they tried, okay, we will go for some other thing product, and they devised another product using this chitosan. Chitosan is a naturally occurring polymer, so which is extracted from this shellfish or crab or lobster. So what happens is this sea fishes like the shellfish or crab or lobster or shrimp, they have an outer covering. This outer covering contains chitosan. They have an sugar. So this is a sugar containing molecule which is an chitosan. So what they did is they took this chitosan mixed with nano silicon dioxide. So that is nano SiO2. So this is an approved food additive. Nano silicon dioxide is an approved silicon food additive. So this material, when they are mixed and when they mixed with this jujumba fruit, what happened is like this fruit had a good shelf life. So this is what they understood from their research. So next, when we see other application for this nanomaterials is these materials are used as oxygen scavengers. So there's a big thing known in food packing. What's the problem is like if more oxygen is present in food packages, the food can easily get degraded because oxygen will promote the growth of other microorganisms. So next thing is the presence of oxygen will also decrease the flavor of the food products. So what they do is they will use oxygen scavengers. So you can see in the left right hand side a figure is there. So it is a oxygen scavenging product. So this product is made from sodium chloride and iron powder. Okay, this is an iron nano powder. So what happens is this iron powder will absorb the oxygen and it will be converted to, or it gets oxidized to iron oxide. So what happens is immediately the amount of oxygen required gets reduced. So the advantage of this using this oxygen scavengers is like you can see here, it retains the flavor, it prevents oxidation of vitamin A, C, and E, so that we when we tell a product is containing vitamins, and if you use this oxygen scavengers, it prevents the oxidation of the vitamins. So it extends the life of pharmaceutical products, it inhibits the growth of microorganisms, it also helps prevent the browning of fruits and vegetables. So these are some of the advantages of using this nanomaterials in food. So this is a chart which shows what materials are used in what function and what company producing these products. So all these products are readily available in the market. All these nanomaterials I showed, you can check that nano database, which gives you a complete picture what are the products available in which countries and what is its application, what nanomaterial is present. All this information you can get from there. So this is a chart showing them. So here there is a product known as, which shows the ripeness indicator. So this is a ripeness indicator. When you look into the figure, there is a chart is there. So if the image is yellow in color means it is juicy. So if it is orange in color means it is the fruit is firm. If it is red in color means the fruit is crisp. So this sticker will be pasted above the fruit. So when you go to the shopping mall and if you buy this product, by looking the color of the sticker, you can identify what's the present status of this food. So whether it is juicy or whether it is firm or whether it is crisp. So all these products contain nanomaterials. So next we look. So there may be a doubt that whether nanomaterials are allowed in food. So this is the data taken from the European website. So where it shows the additives, what are the additives that is allowed in food. So here you can see silica with the number E551, which is allowed to be present in food. We have this titanium dioxide, which has this number E171, which is white in color, it is allowed in food. Then we have this iron nanoparticles, which is E172, that is also allowed in food. Then we have this silver and gold with numbers E174 and E175, which is allowed in food. The right side, we have this images. So these are some Indian foods which is covered with this silver foil. So all this foil is edible and it is not toxic to human beings. So these are regulatory information where all these foods are allowed to be present in foods. So next important thing is like, we have seen that nanomaterials are used in food. Also, nanomaterials are used for detecting unwanted substances that is present in food. So here you can see a chart. So this chart, if you look, what happens is the bottom part here, what is having is we have ghee. So in ghee, what are adulterants they use is, they use vegetable oil, they use animal body fats. In case of chili powder, adulterants, what they use is brick powder, saw powder. When you look into this turmeric powder, what adulterants they use is dyes, colorants, these they are. So recently, there have been a research. So you can click here and you can go. So what they have done is they have created a paper-based detection device to detect the milk adulterants. So here you can look, there is a circle is there. So what are the adulterants they do to milk is like, they add hydrogen peroxide, urea, starch, salt, soap, detergents. So these are the components what they add to the milk as adulterants. So this device is like, you need to have only 10 microliter of sample. Very, very, very small quantity of the sample is enough. And if you present or keep that sample above these spots, it will correctly tell what type of adulterant is present. So all these spots have nanomaterials, which shows the presence of these compounds even at very small quantity, and this method is very high sensitivity. So far what we have seen is the nanomaterials and food. Next we will see how nanomaterials play a vital role in agriculture. So the same kind of chart I am showing. So when you come to agriculture, we can see animal husbandry, nanomaterials uses fertilizers, in plant breeding, in soil improvement, as well as plant protection. So first we will see about this use of nanomaterials in poultry, okay, that is rearing these chickens. So here what are the nanomaterials they are using is, they use selenium, chromium, iron, phosphorus, zinc, silver, copper, many nanomaterials they are using to improve the health of these chickens. So where I came across this product which is known as nano selenium, so it is prepared by one company known as Imkurak. So this is an Indian company. They prepare a product which contains this nano selenium. So what happens when you use the selenium is, which increases the growth, immunity, it provides increases the egg production. So these are some of the advantages of using this selenium in the along with the feed supplement that is to be used for this poultry. So next we will see the application of nanomaterials in agriculture. So nanomaterials are used in all the spaces like fertilizers, plant growth, fungicide. So in all the spaces, they are using this nanomaterials. So what they are using is, they are using these nanomaterials to improve the yield and quality, to preserve the foods. They are also using nanomaterials for genetic engineering or producing new varieties of these plants, growth of the plants used in agrochemicals, as well as in order to mitigate the stress that is this plants faces also. So you can see the various nanomaterials are used for sensors, soil enhancement, pesticides, crop growth and development, abiotic stress, preservation. So in all these aspects, they are using these nanomaterials. So I am seeing someone has raised a hand. So is there any doubts? Any doubts are there?
No doubt, sir. No, sir. No doubt, sir. Just
Okay.
you continue.
Shall I continue? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what are the materials that is used in plant nutrients means, you can see the basic nutrients are like, if a plant need to grow, it requires carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So there we can split the nutrients for these plants as macronutrients as well as micronutrients. When into macronutrients, when you see this nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, these are macronutrients. These micronutrients are very much essential. What are the micronutrients means? Iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, chlorine, cobalt, silicon. So these are the micronutrients that is very essential for the growth of these plants. So nowadays what they are doing is, they are making nano formulations which contains these micronutrients. So what's the advantage of this nano formulations means, if it is a big size particles means, these particles will not penetrate the leaf. So what happens is, some of the fertilizers, how it works is, this fertilizer has to be dissolved in water, or some bacteria has to convert this fertilizer into a usable form for these plants. So then only the root can take up these plants. So here when we are using nanomaterials, so what's the advantage is like, these particles are very small. So when we use a follicular spray, that is, if we spray the nanomaterials above the leaf of the plants, that can easily penetrate the leaf and it will be readily available to the plants. So that's the advantage of when we use this nanomaterials in fertilizers. So what nanomaterials can be used as fertilizers or pesticide means, they are using carbon nanotubes, they are using silver or zinc particles, they are using cerium, copper oxide, titanium dioxide, iron oxide, They are also using nano carriers. So what happens is when we put a bulk of the fertilizer to the plant, so when rain comes, what happens is this rain will wash away the fertilizer as such. So when we use some nano carriers, what happens? Our fertilizer will be trapped, our fertilizer or insecticide will be trapped inside the nanoparticles. So, and it will be slowly released to the environment. What's the advantage of this slow release means? The fertilizer or the pesticide will be available for a very long period. So during this long period, the health as well as disease resistance of the plant will be improved. So for a particular season, if you spray 2 or 3 sprays or 2 or 3 fertilizer sprays means, if you are using nanomaterials, one will be sufficient. So that's the advantage of using nanomaterials in agriculture. So this is a product which is developed by the Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative, which is an Indian government organization. So this is an nano urea. So normally we add urea to the plants. So which is an essential nitrogen source for these plants. So what they did is they prepared nano urea along with some carbon backbone carriers, and this is used as an follicular spray. They spray this fertilizer into the leaf of the plants. So what they are telling is like, so it is an proven research and it is commercially being sold all over the India. So the plants can readily take up the urea and the growth as well as the yield is very high when they are using this nano urea liquid follicular spray. So these are some of the nanomaterials which is used as an pesticide and an herbicide. So you can see the classification, how it is used. Zinc aluminum composite is used as an herbicide. SiO2 is used as an pesticide. So nanomaterials are also used along with some active compounds as insecticide as well as pesticide. So far what we have seen is like we have seen nanomaterials, how they are used in food as well as how they are used in agriculture. So next we will see how are these nanomaterials synthesized. Nanomaterial synthesis can be made in 2 ways. One is by chemical methods, other one is by green methods. So chemical methods disadvantage means most of the nanomaterials or zero-dimensional nanomaterials are prepared using toxic chemicals. When these chemicals come into contact with the environment, what happens? There will be a huge pollution will take place. So in order to prevent that, what we can do is we can use nanomaterials preparation using plants, fungus, bacteria. So all these materials or all these plants and microorganisms has the capacity to reduce salts to produce nanomaterials. So any such part of the plant can be used. So you can use a seed, you can use a bacteria, you can use leaves, you can use root, you can use stem, you can use fungi to produce any of these nanomaterials. You can prepare silver, gold, copper, zinc, titanium, selenium, cadmium. Any nanomaterial can be prepared using these plants or bacterial extract. Only thing is you need to choose the right plant to produce the right nanomaterials. So this way you can prepare nanomaterials. So these are some of the works we have done in our lab. So we prepared gold and silver nanoparticles using the plant bilimbi. So we use the fruit extract from this plant. Same way we also prepared this copper ferrite nanoparticles. Then we prepared this silver nanoparticles using Calotropis prochia. So that is an mushroom variety. So we also worked in this sensors. We prepared sensors for the detection of hydrogen peroxide. We also prepared sensors for producing this detecting ascorbic acid in pharmaceutical samples. So we took pharmaceutical tablets. We prepared a sensor. So this sensor is made up of DNA as well as Prussian blue. We use the electrochemical method for the detection of ascorbic acid. So these are some of the works which related to what I have spoke today, like it may be food or agriculture. So these are some of the works which we have done related to nanomaterial usage in food as reduction or synthesis of nanomaterials. So if you have any questions, you can now ask. So this is our lab. So we have all these facilities with us. So previously myself and Diriba, your president, had a discussion. So I'll be willing to collaborate with your university. So thanks for providing this opportunity. So any questions are welcome now.
Thank you, sir. I really love the presentation. And like you said, especially Gambela University's Center of Excellence is agriculture,
Yes,
because
I
we
saw
have
that.
College of Agriculture and
Yes.
nanotechnology for food and agriculture. And also Ethiopia is this time, working on campaigning wheat to massively producing wheat. And then we want to have this food self-sufficiency. And so the presentation you did today exactly matches with our plan in the future. So I'm sure our academic staff members in Gambela University, they will take this advantage, and also maybe conducting joint research that can be published, and also that can support the production so that production and productivity will increase. So thank you so much. I'm very happy about your presentation, sir.
Yeah, very much. Thank you. I'll be very much happy to share my expertise with Gambela University so that we can move forward to produce some fruitful products in the future.
Yeah, especially if you if you advise PhD students on this area, we will also be very happy, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. So these are my contact details. So I'll be also sharing this presentation with Lalu so that he will share the presentation to Gambela University. So in the future also, if the students want to have a look at this presentation, they can have a look. So these are my contact details. So if anyone want to or willing to contact me directly, also you can contact me.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
In the chat box, I have provided the link for you to give the feedback. So I request all the participants to go through that link and give your valuable feedback so that we can improve ourselves for the next week presentations. Once
Thank
again,
you.
I thank our speaker, Dr. R.S. Rimal Isaac, Assistant Professor of Department of Nanotechnology, Noorul Center for Higher Education, for this wonderful presentation on nanomaterials. And I am glad that Dr. Diriba is very much interested on collaborating with PhD students with Rimal Isaac. Hopefully, in the future, he will guide those students. Thank you, Dr. Diriba, for your wonderful interaction.
Thanks, Dr. Lalu, as well as thanks, Dr. Diriba. Lalu, sir, I will share the presentation with you so that you can
Thank you,
share it
Dr.
with
Lalu.
Gambela University.
Okay, sir. You share with me. I can send the presentation to the coordinator there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Also, I thank Mr. Jaganraj from Gambela University for coordinating the event from there.
So if any questions, we will take it now, or else we will close the meeting.
I have one clarification.
Yeah, sir, you can ask.
Thank you very much. First of all, I am Professor Tamilarasu from Gambela University.
It's a very nice hearing from you.
Basically, I am from accounting and finance,
Okay, sir.
but I have seen your presentation. It was very nice. First of all, I would like to appreciate the organizer and our president, vice president, faculty, on Mr. Jahan. All they have done a very nice job for our university community. And your presentation is also very nice. We are so happy. By appreciating this much, I would like to have a small clarification from you, Professor.
Yes, sir. Please.
And really, the nanotechnology adapting for agriculture is highly need for the developing country like Ethiopia. But there are some side effects also available. For example, when you adopt nanotechnology, automatically biotic and abiotic, there are two disadvantages are available from agricultural product. And it is affecting people like virus, like cancer, like fungus, like many negative impact also available for adopting the nano in agriculture. What about your suggestion, Professor?
What you have asked is right, actually. So some nanomaterials do cause diseases, but when you look into, for example, I will tell, when you look into the zinc oxide is one of the material that is used in fertilizers, not now. It has been used for like 20, 30 years they have been using it. So as far as now, they haven't proven any side effects based on the zinc oxide. This is one of the material which is used as an zinc source in fertilizers. The same material, what we are doing is we are converting to a nanoscale. So what's the advantage is like the penetration will be very high. The penetration into the plant system will be very high. As you said, we also need to look into the long-term effects. So before making this product to public, we should study all these effects. We are giving it to the plants. We also need to look whether these nanomaterials are present in the fruits. That is the thing we are going to ultimately consume. So then only we should give it to the public. So these studies also has to be done. As well as when you are using a fertilizer, we also need to look whether the microbial community that is naturally present in the soil is getting affected because of this nanomaterials. So only after studying all these things, we can give it to the public as fertilizer or anything. So what I usually used to tell is anything will become toxic when it is used in large quantities. So we have a Tamil saying, "Alavukku meerinal amrtham nanju," the same thing. So use wisely and don't pollute the environment. That's what I usually say.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your nice explanation. I understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions you can ask now?
You have question? Raise your hand. You will speak, okay? Talk, yeah.
So good morning, everybody, or it is afternoon. So
Good afternoon.
let me say how glad I am to be with you in this morning, and I would like to extend my gratitude to our president, Dr. Diriba, for his offering with the university to change this MOU to the action. So I really appreciate also the presentation with the Mr. Dr. Rimal, Isaac, for his good presentation. So in the area of the agriculture, we focus on the food. So the agriculture is the one important tool in the. So in the Gambela, we have the fish production. In the near future, the Gambela University is planning to produce the entrepreneur project in the area of fish production. So
Okay.
when you are planning, so you have to add about the function or the knowledge that can, because in the area of the hygienic practice,
Sir, your voice is
yes, Amano, are you
not
hearing me?
yeah, it's breaking. Yeah, your voice is actually breaking.
So in the area of the hygienic practice, so
Okay.
we need to have the knowledge about, because if we say the nano material is the focusing on the agrochemical
Yes, sir.
that involve the production. So in the area to prevent the disease that can affect the consumer, because the food we are
Yes, yes,
using to
yes.
produce the food for the consumer. So we are
Yes.
protecting the consumer not to get the harm or not to get the food poisoning. So we
Yes,
are
yes, that's very much
feeding the
true.
consumer with the food that has the good in the nutrition, the color, and the flavor also. So
Yes.
here now, we have the many area in the area of the agriculture. We have the food from the fishery production. We have the honey production. So these are the need, the good understanding from the handling practice from the rural to the from the urban to the rural. I mean, so I would like to say that in the near future, also you have to attend the foreground in our college as the area of the food and chemical also, because there are the many that can involve also. So we have the water engineering, the civil. So those we have to consider it in the near future in our program. So I would like also to approach you if you would take our student to stay there and get the experience sharing, come back also to have the good understanding. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We will share the knowledge, whatever we have, so that we will have a collaborative work in the said areas. So, any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, you can ask.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Reynal, for Reynal and our President Dr. Deriba for preparing such a stage to share. Okay. I hope this technology is somehow already on news in our country. Actually, it was not as such promoted well, but there is a product in a market
Okay.
which was actually used, and I have came across, especially on those perennial crop, on probably that's perennial crop chat, chat, the chewing chat, the green leaf chewing chats. They were using this nanotechnology some years back. Unfortunately, they faced a permanent especially drying of this perennial crop on some areas.
Okay.
Maybe this nano products as such may not have a long term, especially positive impact. It do have its own residual effect negatively on these perennial crops.
Okay. It
It
was
was not as
negative
such.
results.
Yeah. They
Okay.
totally uproot these perennial crops, and they changed
Okay.
this crop from their that land areas. We
Okay.
faced that in some areas in our country. Maybe there was no as such a good, especially promotion and communication with this product
Okay.
to the farmers.
Okay.
To the farmers. Again, when we come to dairy product, dairy products are highly perishable.
Yes, yes, they
Perishable.
are highly perishable.
Yeah, it can change immediately it can ferment into yogurt actually.
Yes, yes.
That's dairy product, as you know, in our case in developing countries, is more or less consumed by youngsters, especially children.
Okay. Children.
This product is, as I told you, it is highly perishable. If you want to especially increase the shelf life of this dairy product, to address those children in urban areas, just to increase the shelf life for a certain time for children in urban areas. As you know, children are very sensitive to any products.
Yes.
Yeah. So can we advise this nanomaterial to be incorporated in milk, pure milk? When I mean
What's the thing is like? What's the thing is like? The shelf life of this products like milk or something, we cannot improve by adding nanomaterial to the milk, but we can change the packaging. So what in India they do is there is a retro packaging style. So this packaging can improve the shelf life of the milk. What they do is they pasteurize the milk, then use an retro packaging that contains 3 or 4 layers of the packaging. So the milk stays as such for 6 months. Maybe you can.
Okay, I mean that can be through factories. I'm clear with your response actually.
Okay.
What about in our case, there is no such infrastructures which can address all the when we come to our country, our region.
Maybe we will work out on that. Yes.
The Gambellas, the dairy producing pastoral or mixed agro-pastoral groups are far away from the one which is the Gambella town, actually, Gambella towns.
Okay.
We want to bring the milk for children, actually, those unfermented milks, milks to those highly populated areas, especially the Gambella towns. Unfortunately, when we bring that milk, till we brought to the town area, the temperature is too hot. It may ferment
easily.
Easily. Unfortunately, that the youngsters cannot consume as such the fermented ones. Is there any ways or any means which can address through nanotechnology, which could not have as such residual effect on children, at the same time increase the shelf life of. A similar question was raised by Gatwich, I hope probably. Gatwich was already raised. There is a surplus production of fish in our country, particularly these regions. What we face is the problem of increasing shelf life. And again, there is no infrastructure to as such facilitate the product to bring unperishably to the good market areas. Is there any means which can safely?
First thing is, what you told is there is a lack of infrastructure and there is a lack of transportation problem. So what we will do is we will speak privately, and what we will do is we will work into a solution for these issues. Along with your president, we will have some private meetings and we will try to find a solution.
Okay. We can came across our staff. Actually, I'm a college dean, so agricultural college dean. We can communicate through our president. Other way around. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think a good concern raised by both Dr. Rajan Gatwich and also what Professor Rimal proposed. We will discuss privately and then we have to come up with a solution. So I think that's a good point.
Yes, sure. Yes, we will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for taking the lot of time to answer all the questions. In future, I think we can collaborate with Gambella University in detail. And I think all the participants have wanted the contact details of Rimal Isaac. So you can directly post their questions to this email ID. So he will ready to answer.
Sure.
And thank you one and all for participating in this. And thank you, Dr. Diriba, for arranging this in your university. And moreover, I would
Thank you
Thank
all.
you, Lalu sir.
Jagan Raj for the meeting. This. Shall we wind up?
Thank you, sir.
Jagan Raj?
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes, sir.
can
We can
wind
wind
up, sir.
up.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We can wind up. Thanks.
Andy, chapter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
See, next week also we have program. So what we can do is maybe not this department, maybe other department.